Phew, here we are again. Now, I've managed to get the gearbox drilled through and mounted. Those are just temporary bolts. I had some thread that's the same size as the thread in that gearbox, but it's an old vintage newage gearbox, and the thread in it, I'm not quite sure what it is, but I think it's British standards fine. May well be Whitworth fine, but anyway, I had some that fitted, but I had to weld nuts on to make some bolts, but obviously that's not going to stay like that because that could break off of there at any point. So I'm trying to trace something on the internet that will do that job, but it's mounted on there. There's a bit of spring in it, but give that a whack. So I've got to support it across to here, which I'm going to do. I'm making a lot of this up as I go along, but the drive shaft I'm having made up to go from there to here is only about 300mm long. It'll probably have a Hardy Spicer each end because it's slightly out of line anyway, so that's good. It needs to be out of line for a Hardy Spicer for them to work correctly. But in the centre of there, I'm going to have a double V pulley to run two alternators, and I'm going to stick the alternators this end because I've got loads of room here and I can make up the brackets for it between these two. I was originally going to run it from, or run them from this cam pulley here, which originally would have run the original water coolant pump. But I don't think it's going to run fast enough, and it would have been fine for a coolant pump or a dynamo or something, but I don't think it's going to run fast enough for an alternator, so they need to run it a fair old whack to give out the power that you require. So I'm going to run it directly from the drive shaft on the other end of the gearbox, on the other end of the engine, before it goes into the gearbox. So I've managed to trace a double pulley, so one alternator can be mounted one side and one the other, and I think that'll work fine. I've moved the bracket for the starter motor to this side. It was originally the other side, and it's now here. It took a bit of setting up to get it in the right position, and I welded it to a piece of 100mm by 6mm plate, which then I had to boost up a bit with some more 6mm plate to get it to the right height, and then I've bolted the entire lot through the chassis, so that should work fine. And the starter motor I've had to reposition in different holes. It was only actually bolted in 2 holes, but I've managed to get 3 in there, so all 3 will be bolted. And I can also bolt a bracket to hold that pipe work onto the end there. I've pre-drilled it ready, so that will hold that pipe, so I don't want anything rattling around and catching the flywheel and getting ripped off. So all in all, that should be fine. So the starter motor's there waiting to go on. What else have I got? That's really all I've worked on today, or actually I also took the face off the electrics box, and I've put in 2 little switches, one there and one there, and they're going to run the coolant pumps for the engine and the gearbox. That's where they'll be operated from, so they'll light up when they're switched on. And I think I straightened up the air intake today, because with all this bracket that I made up, it sort of pushed it a little bit out of line really. So I've straightened that up now, and so she's all okay. And I've got a bit of silicone rubber pipe there ready to take a pipe up through the roof of the boat, and I'll probably get some 54mm copper to go up through there, because that'll look nice, and you can burnish it up. The more copper and brass you can use on these old engines, the better, because it makes them look gorgeous. So that's it. Okay, speak to you soon.